The WWE and ESPN relationship is falling apart, and it sounds like some people are not happy about this. We're going to have to talk about that, and that'll be coming up in today's video, as well as a huge WWE return. And yes, we are going to talk about a very interesting twist of events with TNA and their new TV deal. It's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. If you guys want more wrestling videos like this, you should probably click that subscribe button and ring that bell, because on this channel, I'm going to keep you guys updated along with pretty much everything that's happening. And this is a big one. You may have noticed in the last few days, there has been a ton of talk of the TNA TV deal, and that's because we keep getting new information as time goes on. Now, Carlos Silva, who is the president of Anthem, and obviously he's like the head guy for TNA. He's been doing an incredible job. So he was actually on the Ariel Helwani show, and he addressed a lot of things regarding this new TV deal. And what I appreciate so much about Carlos Silva here is the fact that he's not really mincing words. He's not shying away from any question. He's not shying away from anything. One of the big things that was directly asked to Carlos Silva was, hey, you told me the hope was live 52 weeks a year. Is that still the plan with this new TV deal? Carlos Silva actually does not shy away from this at all. He says, I'm a live guy. I've been in the live sports business my whole career. We did a little bit more live this year for TNA, and I think we're going to do even more live in the first 3 to 6 months. We'll get our rhythm with our new partner, and then in the second half, we'll decide how much more live content we can do. This is based on operations, finances, and the logistics of going live on a weekly basis. He says we're going to be smart in the first 6 months and make sure we're doing all the right things to kick the partnership off strong. We don't want to add too much too fast. That could get in the way. But yes, doing a little bit more live in the first 6 months is definitely in the cards. Now, of course, the question then becomes, like, what's the roadmap to everything? He says in some of those cases, we'll stay in the venue after a live Thursday show and get in a TV taping or two on Friday or Saturday for the upcoming weeks. That's the plan. So TNA is going to be a little bit smarter when it comes to actually taping their show and things of that nature. One of the big things that I feel as if could be somewhat problematic here is the fact that TNA needs to be live. I don't think pre-taped helps a lot in TNA's case. They need to be live. In order for them to be successful live, they have to have viewership. I think if TNA really does well relatively fast with Anthem and AMC coming together for this deal, I will predict that they will end up going live every week. Maybe even with the intention of AMC offering more money. If TNA starts to become a success for AMC, maybe AMC is willing to alter the deal, update the offer, and that would obviously be very significant. So that is something to obviously keep in mind. We don't know what to expect there, but it is something to definitely pay attention to. I think it's necessary. You got to be live. You have to be live. I love the TNA product. I think we could sit here, we can debate about creative and this and that, but the thing is, you will see better creative with them going live as well. Trust me. It's just a whole different nature of the beast. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to see. That takes us to our next topic of today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Pat McAfee returning to WWE soon. Don't be surprised if it happens very soon. And this is largely due to the fact that Pat McAfee, he kind of gets to do what he wants. He gets to come and go when he wants. He was really tired and, just a lot of stuff happening in his life and a lot of travel stuff. And this man has been pulled off WWE television. Then he came back. Obviously, that became a very big talking point. But when it comes to Pat McAfee, he was having Nick Khan on his show today. They're going to be talking about his return, working on his return, obviously with the conclusion of the college football season. I just have to be very direct and honest here. I'm a huge fan of Pat McAfee. I love his Pat McAfee show. There's a lot of great things about this guy outside of WWE that I enjoy watching and paying attention to. But in the WWE, I'm also a big fan of Pat McAfee. I'm a very big fan of his commentary. I'm a fan of his energy. I'm a fan of all these things. What I'm not necessarily a fan of, though, is Pat McAfee having the choice to come and go as he pleases, and then WWE has to alter the commentary team. I'm very pleased with the work of Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett, and I feel like because Pat McAfee kind of comes back and forth, WWE then has to alter their commentary teams again. I don't think it's fair to Corey Graves. I don't think it's fair to Michael Cole. I don't think it's fair to, like pretty much everybody. And from a fan perspective, I would actually much rather see Pat McAfee join in for pay-per-views, because that's where I think his energy is needed the most. I think for TV, it's okay without him, but I think his energy is really needed for pay-per-views, standing on tables and going crazy. Let's make it more special for him so he's not being used dominantly all the time. That's how I'm looking at it. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but the truth is, I'm not really that excited to see him return and then they have to make changes again. I really like how things are right now, but use them in special circumstances, I'm down. Yeah, and this is the part that I just really, I don't know. WWE and ESPN, maybe the writing was on the wall. Maybe I was blind. Maybe I didn't see it coming. I don't know. But Freddie Prinze Jr., he used to be a writer for WWE. You guys know he's a Hollywood actor. He's also been contemplating launching his own wrestling promotion and been working on that for a while. And maybe that's not going to work out. But he's very much a wrestling fan to its core. Obviously has a lot of connections to people in the industry. He's come out and, he's basically saying that he has a friend who works for ESPN and Disney, and they're not happy with this WWE deal. He says, ESPN, by the way, so unhappy with the deal. I was talking to a friend of mine who works at Disney. He was just like, yo, they got to make their money back on this deal. And they're not happy about this. The truth is, we keep hearing stuff about ESPN and WWE, and from, the reports that come out, we're hearing that WWE is happy, ESPN is happy. ESPN comes out and say they're happy, because obviously, why would they say that they're not happy? You don't really know what's the situation here, but let me just tell you guys how I feel, and I will accept that maybe I was wrong. When reports came out that ESPN was going to be more accessible for more families and their new streaming app was going to be available to everybody, it is true. It is happening. A lot of companies will get ESPN Unlimited for free. The problem is they have to wait like a year for this to happen. We didn't know that at the time. Then you see how WWE is on this ESPN deal, but then you're looking at ESPN and what's the value here? WWE, as I've said this before, WWE has been so smart business-wise to have multiple different TV partners. The problem is you now have to satisfy a plethora of people. That is a very difficult task to do. And maybe I'm just a little grumpy about this because ESPN, for some odd reason, wants to just monetize with a whole bunch of commercial breaks more than I've ever seen in my life watching a WWE program. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that at all. Like, at all. I'm not a fan of that. And I don't mean for this dramatic zoom to be there, but the truth is, I am heated about this because it seems to be a very, 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 very disappointing situation. And then with the news, with the tape library and stuff like that, sometimes I just kind of hope that maybe WWE will simplify things again. But they won't because they're greedy. I respect the way they think about business and I respect the way they do business in the sense of they're very smart and intelligent and they understand the moves to make. And I understand the moves are best for business. But from a fan's perspective, yeah, not so much.